Hello, welcome back to Podium. Rich and Hannah here. And this is our last of the running event previews for the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo. Myself and Hannah have made it to Tokyo. We can confirm it's very hot out here. And we just tested the conditions with a run. And you really feel it when you stop rather than actually when you're running. It's pretty sweltering conditions out here. But we have assembled a pretty awesome lineup for this endurance preview. Matthew Centrowitz, the Olympic champion from 2016, a double Olympic medalist, Nick Willis as well, joining us from the Olympic Games. And this really utilizing our new partnership with Tracksmith. And thank you, both of you, for joining. It's great to have you on.
Yeah, thanks, Rich. It's a great honor to be a part of this. I'm excited. I want to learn from you guys about all of the new athletes coming through, but we'll throw in our 2 cents as well.
Yeah, no, thanks for having us on. I was a little worried after I retired last year that I was going to be too disengaged with the sport, and it's been really nice kind of having some things along the way. Grand Slam track for the first one of the season, and then doing the flow track stuff this whole summer, the Diamond League season. So it's been kind of still fun, kind of being more of like I wouldn't say necessarily a spectator, but more of like maybe an analyst / like viewer of the sport. And I mean, I enjoy talking in general, and then you mix that in with the sport I did for over half my life. Like, easy sell for me. So happy to be here. Yeah. Thanks.
I feel like the same as you, Centro. Like, if you're gonna let me come and keep watching athletics and then let me talk about it, like, that's great. Like, do you miss competing? Like, how do you feel? Sitting on the other side and working on it instead of competing.
You know, I actually feel pretty good about like kind of like the time I decided to hang them up, and in this whole year, like watching obviously the amazing performances and the fast times, and kind of where specifically the men's 1500 is kind of gone. Like, not to come off like, I don't know if it's bitter or like one era is better than the other, but like I definitely enjoyed more of the, like, you never know what you're going to get, like in the type of era that I feel like Nick and I were kind of racing more in. Here it's like, hey, at least you know it's going to be fast. You got to be able to run under 330. Like, it's more predictable, but it's certainly like a lot faster and a lot harder. And I just like the, like, I don't know, the element of surprise in the 1500 of like, it could be tactical. It could be, you have to train for like all different outcomes. And so.
No, I think I'm with you, to be fair. And I feel like my era was more like 8:15 as well, like same as you guys.
Yeah.
And do you feel like, it shifted into more, we are going to start with the men's 15 anyway, but it has shifted into kind of a 5K 15 game. And people have had to change differently. They train differently. They've had to kind of address that. And that's quite different than what you guys cope with, really.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like not even just the 1500 or even the men's 1500. Like, I would say if you're going to be a really good 800 runner now, you have to be like a very good miler. And if you want to be a great miler, you have to be a great 5K guy, and so on and so on. And so it's you're almost not even training for your event really these days. You're kind of training for the event up, like above your event, one distance up. And so like you have Donovan Brazier, who now is training and based in Flagstaff, like kind of like, again, like where distance runners would go. Bryce Hoppel made the move last year. It worked out great for him. Grant Fisher, he'll post his long runs as if he's literally like a marathoner, and he's a 5K, 10K guy. And so, yeah, I mean, that's kind of what it takes now these days to be successful in your event, is that you have to be versatile. Like, you have to be great in basically the event above your own event. And so, I wouldn't just say it's just in the 1500. It's across the board in all genders, all events.
That's why we can run away and just talk about it instead and not have to do all that over distance.
Well,
over distance work.
Well, you say that, but Matt, I've been looking at your times for the marathons. You're almost in semi-retirement, aren't you? I mean, you're right. You're training for. What was your time from last year, and what are you aiming for this year?
Yeah, it's funny because we always played this game like the last few years, like of my career with like the Bowerman Track Club, of like, who's going to get fat first, who's going to not run a step, who's still going to be running a lot. And like, I felt very confident that I was definitely going to be one of those guys that like never ran certainly a marathon distance. And fast forward a year later, and now I'm about to approach 2 marathons in like within a year. So I ran 2:24 last year. Super fun. That one was just because I was training with Kira D'Amato, who my dad actually coached in college. And so when she moved to Park City, it was like one of those things where her and I could just kind of get together. I'd help her with her workouts, have a little bit of fun, like keep myself somewhat in shape before the winter in Park City, knowing that I was going to totally embrace the dad bod and not want to run on snow. And so that was such a fun experience, not like the couple hours after the marathon, but like the days following it. I was like, you know what? Was it really that bad? And fast forward however many months, I moved to Chicago, and it just feels like there's no way I could live in this city and go for all the runs that I've been going for on here, like, and not do the marathon. So I'm looking forward to getting back there. The goal this year is to run under 220. Then the second goal would be to break first goal is to run faster than I did last year. Second is under 220. And then the third goal would be like breaking 218, which is probably the most ambitious of them all. But I'm kind of like having conversations right now with the guys over in the Chicago Marathon on like if I'm going to help out the top American woman again, which I'd love to do, but we're still ironing out those details, and there's still actually a good chunk of training, so we'll see. I don't want to like get too over the top on like what I can and cannot do yet. There's still a lot of time between now and the Chicago Marathon. So
yeah, pretty impressive. You're not being tempted, Nick.
Did you see his 10-mile tempo run he posted the other day? Sub 50.
Oh, like I hate all these rubbish retired people. Like, be proper, retired.
Are you not jumping in, Nick, as well? Why aren't you jumping?
Unfortunately, I became what he said he was going to, but then didn't. My body totally went to waste. I didn't take care of myself, and then when I tried to get back into it, I just kept getting injured, just old man calves. But I'm on the way back. I ran 2 miles yesterday, so yeah, hopefully I can get healthy enough to get back into it next year.
Nick has one thing going for him that I don't, where he ran later. Like you retired, Nick, at like 40, like 38? Like
yeah, 39. I never retired. I'm still gone.
Yeah, there you go. So the fact that he retired at 39 and I retired at 34, 35, like he had 4 years. So like I technically have to keep doing this marathon thing or stay engaged for at least 4 more years, because I just keep hearing a lot of guys that are older than me that once you get to 40, it's like that's basically your body type for like the next decade, from 40 to 50, and like there's not much you could do about it. So I'm like, all right, I gotta like stay engaged for at least another handful of years.
All right, let's get cracking with men's 1500 meters first, shall we? And as things stand, it's Tokyo time, Wednesday, just gone 7 o'clock. We think Jakob Ingebrigtsen is going to be in the mix for this, so we'll just assume that he is for now. But where do we start with this? I mean, for over the last few months, have we got to a position where you could say that none of the Olympic medalists from last year are the favourites anymore? Niels Laros going into this as the one to beat at the moment? What do you think?
Nick, you wanna kick it off?
Yeah. I think Laros has to be the favorite because of his most recent performances, which are so impressive, especially for a guy so young. The way that he's closing the last 120, and he's doing that coming around the bend, running wide, and then just that means that he's feeling great. He's not even having to wait for the straightaway to go. If he runs like that, he's going to be really, really tough to beat. But there's something about being a favorite just makes it that much harder. You have to run more aggressively. You can't afford to settle in, and like you got to cover every possible move, and it just sets you up to not have the perfect style race. So if I had to take the field versus Laros at this stage, I'm probably going the field, but he probably has the best individual chance based on how he's going. But yeah, I'm not picking him actually as my favorite. I wrote down a list, and the 1500 was actually probably the one of the 2 events of all of the distance races, men and women, where I think there's going to be a big upset. And I think I read something that there hasn't been a repeat winner in the last 6 championships in the 1500 meters. So it's ripe for that. And I think it will come down to a person that doesn't necessarily have any expectations on them to win, and then they can come through and use an epic kick to win. So I'm actually picking Ethan Strand of the US.
Such a rogue choice. Come on.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good place to start, though. I think if we sort of get into it from maybe the opposite way around to where we might do it often. So maybe start with your predictions, your top 3, and then we'll get into
and
why.
then defend them. We'll attack you.
So
you can defend
Nick,
it.
if you want to give your top three first, and then Matt, if you want to follow up, and then we'll figure it. Then we'll try and pick the bones out of it.
So I've got Strand winning, I've got Harker getting second, and I've got Laros getting third. If you watched Laros's races the last couple of months, they're very, very impressive. But if you actually analyze the splits of what he ran in the last 500, 400 meters, the last even 100-meter kick, it wasn't any more those weren't any more impressive than what Strand and what Koech ran at the US Champs in their trials. But I was in the stands with 350 meters to go watching that race, and Strand got passed by 3-4 guys going into the bell, got totally in the box. So like, well, there goes his chances. But he threw caution to the wind and he went around the outside of everybody, made a huge surge down the back straight. If Centro and I had ever tried to do that in our time for our relative successes, we would have tied up the last 50 meters. He made that move and he still accelerated and made a crazy last 100 meters, getting just passed by Koech, who had a much smoother ride the last 100 than him. So I think if he doesn't have that same era at the 400-meter mark, his performance was just as impressive, if not more, than what Laros has done so far. Harker, you can never count him out. He's always there or thereabouts. I think he's a great championship runner, and he's got proof of like peaking at the right time as well. I think he'll sneak through on the inside for second, and Laros probably will do too much early in the middle laps to cover the moves because there's that big expectation upon him, and all of the Netherlands is going to want him to win. That might actually put a bit of stress in him as well as he goes through this process. So that's why I think he'll probably fade the last 30 meters for the bronze, but he might be leading with 30 to go, and then those two will pass him at the end.
Oof. And I can't like disagree with you. I mean, do you want Matt to go next with his predictions, Rich, before I lay into Nick?
Yeah, go on. Yeah, why not? Go on, mate. You pick
you
your
trash
top
them
three.
both at once.
Well, I like how Hannah was like, all right, Matthew, it's fine, Central, with you having your American biases, and here goes Nick over here, like talking mostly about Americans over here. So there we go. I like it. I agree with Nick. Like, this is a really hard year to predict this event, whereas I felt way more confident certainly the last couple of years on who the top three were like up and away in my opinion. Actually I probably should say top four. And that being obviously two Americans, Cole, Naguse, and then Kerr and Ingebrigtsen. And so like those four could be interchangeable like any year, but now it's like, I don't know, I think I'm gonna have Cole for sure in the top three, top four, but like, I mean, we could see none of those four. Obviously Naguse is not even going to be here, but we can certainly see none of them in the top three, top four, which is like, like kind of, I don't know, like exciting times that like this event is like that deep right now that it's obviously like a hard thing to do. Like Nick said, that we haven't had a repeat champion in so many years. So I'm going to go with Laros as a silver medalist, and I'm going to have two Americans in there, and they're going to go 1-3. I just don't know. I think I might have to go Jonah Koech or Cole. This is a really weird prediction because I'm going to go either Jonah Koech or Cole Hocker as one, but Ethan Strand is my third. So it's either Jonah Koech is not medaling or Cole Hocker's not medaling, or the other one's winning, or like vice versa. So I feel better about Cole Hocker after he won the 5K at USA's. Obviously his strength is like on par, and on top of that, like he beat Grant Fisher running 51 in that like very deep men's 5K. So like he's super, super strong. I saw he did a workout not too long ago where he like ran a 49 point in the middle of a workout, and he had talked about, I think in his YouTube video, that he hadn't come anywhere close to running that fast already this season, and that felt significantly quicker than I think like his like previous fastest quarter of the season, which was like, I don't know, like let's say 51, 52, maybe even 53. So, he's peak. He's definitely
you're saying he's done no speed work. Yeah, that's what you're saying.
Exactly what I'm trying to say. He didn't touch the speed going into the US Championship. So,
and we all know no one touches that till 10 days to go before major champs.
And if they're smart, they wouldn't touch it at all. You know what I mean? Like, exactly. Nobody touches it during the indoor season. Everyone runs their PRs then. Like, can we just start to like wake up and be like, speed is overrated? Yeah, so those are my predictions. Either Jonah Koech or Cole Hocker winning, and then I have Laros second. He's obviously very sharp, looks unbelievable. And then I really do like Ethan Strand. I actually had him in my top three at US Championships. He looked phenomenal. I think like coming from the collegiate season, that'd probably be like the one knock on him. But like, I think we've shown like for many years now that these collegiates can still, you're riding this hot wave, and like, he's got good momentum, and his teammates still running really, really well. He just got second at the 5th Ave mile. Parker Wolf. And so that bodes well for both of them, in my opinion. So that's my top 3.
I think it's fair. And I think, collegiate, we know the collegiate system's a great breeding ground for tactical awareness and everything like that. So neither of you think Jakob Ingebrigtsen's just going to come out, do a Keely Hodgkinson and front run a 3:28 and that be enough for a medal? Because that's what I think might happen.
Well, so this is what I would say. First of all, let me just start with this. Like, Jakob is actually like probably like my favorite runner watching. Like, I actually very much enjoy Jakob. Like, and this is not disrespect. It's more just like, I actually think he's probably going to win the 5, or like certainly get second. I mean, it's just the way he continues to like run these 5,000s at the global championships continue to like impress me. What I would say to what you just said is that he has been front running like 326 and 327s, and he hasn't won in the past. So what makes you think that like this year, when he hasn't raced since the indoor season, that he's going to be able to do that with all these guys who are like super, super sharp?
Yeah, I think he'll run 328, but I think they'll pass him.
That won't be enough.
Yep.
So I could see him doing what he tried to do in Paris and doing it right, and that being enough for a medal. I'm not sure he can win with no other races under his belt, but yeah, I think he doesn't smash that 3rd lap. He stays a little bit more conservative. And I think, and yeah, I was kind of, in the last few weeks, I was like, if he's not in this race, then the pressure's on Cole Hocker and Josh Kerr to push it before the bell. Like, they've got to get it moving when they're facing the likes of Laros and Strand, and something they've got to do something. But if he's in it, I think everyone waits for him to control it, and he might. But I also want your opinion on how important is Niels Laros's coach, Thomas Lewandowski. You both will have raced Marcin Lewandowski for years and years and years, and his tactical awareness, the Polish runner, was phenomenal. So I know what you're saying, Nick, that like there's all this pressure on Laros that he's not experienced before, but when he's got Lewandowski in his corner, like does that neutralize that a bit?
I mean, I can't speak for Matthew, but I never liked getting too much advice from my coach on tactics, because then you're second guessing yourself. You just got to read the race as it plays out, and you got to play the hand that's given you. You just got to have a feel for it. I just think when you need to win, and like the expectation, if he doesn't win, it's a failure. You either need to do what Matthew did in Rio and go to the front right from the beginning and control it, or you always have to be in a position where you can't get trapped. Morcelli in 92 Olympics is the best example of that. He was a clear favorite. They boxed him the whole way. He never got out. Firmin Cacho got away. Laros will have to run extra distance in order to stay clear. He's shown that's what he's been doing in the Diamond Leagues. He'll chill out a little bit the first lap and slowly move his way forward. But that's going to force him to be a little bit wide. And I don't think he's that much better than the 3 Americans to afford to run extra distance than they can't do.
No,
and Hocker has shown he's comfortable running on the rail being boxed. He doesn't stress in those situations. And I think Strand will just run a conservative race just because he's young and relatively inexperienced. So he can afford to take a risk by staying conservative in this race.
We've got to ask the question, because we haven't really talked about Josh Kerr at all in this, and talking about the champions and not be able to repeat. Well, we've not seen him do a 1,500 meters since mid-July. It's a London Diamond League meeting. I think he ran a pretty conservative 5,000 at the British Champs at the beginning of August, and since then we've just not seen him at all. Is that super smart into training? Is there maybe hiding an issue behind the scenes? What do we think? What's the hot take as to why we haven't seen much of Josh Kerr, and whether he can still be a contender when we get to the race?
I don't think there's any hot take. I just think he puts all of his eggs in the basket of the championship and goes into training mode and getting ready for that. I used to prefer to take that same approach. I think Kerr is incredible. I still can't wrap my head around the performances of those 3 guys I've mentioned at the US Champs or at the last 2 Diamond Leagues for Laros. Like Hannah was saying, 328, that should be enough for a medal. But to run 330 low or 329 mid with a 12 low last 100, that's worth a 327, 326. To have that much gas left in the tank to be able to do that, that just says you're at another level. And I don't think Kerr's ever shown quite that ability in the last 100 meters off of that sort of pace to have that extra acceleration. If anything, I think he's more of a 3K guy, whereas they have the 3K ability, but they just have that extra zip that I've never seen before, except maybe Morcelli has been able to have that sort of turnover on that faster pace.
Yeah, like what I would say, like, and this is like kind of an interesting thing that I've experienced, and Nick, you could probably, speak to this as well, is that like there's a huge advantage being naive and like being young. And I think like Kerr, even though he's still in his 20s and like kind of, young compared to like Nick and I towards the end of our careers, that like the problem is like you get to a point in your career where you've done insane workouts, you've had insane races, and it's really hard for your mental to go into global championships trying to convince yourself that you're better than the year before, even though you haven't put together the season that you put together, years prior. And what I would say to that is that here is Josh Kerr, who like broke the 2-mile world record indoors, obviously looked very impressive at pre-classic last year in 2024, and like came up short, like ran an unbelievable race, like probably would have won if like Cole Hocker couldn't get on, definitely would have won if Cole Hocker couldn't get on the inside, but at the end of the day, he got second. And I would just say the reason why I haven't mentioned Josh Kerr in the top 3 is only because I haven't seen anything this year that like gives me a feeling that he's in shape, or if not better than he was last year. And so more for his mental, like, again, I don't know what he's done for workouts, but how is he convincing himself that, hey, I've run 3:29 this season, but a handful of guys run quicker than me, handful of guys are sharper and maybe a little bit more naive on like what is needed to like win these medals. And I mean, I look back, I medaled in college, and the shit I was doing in college, like I shouldn't have been in the semifinal, let alone win a medal that year. And it's because I was just on a streak and winning, and I knew nothing more, nothing else. And I feel like Ethan Strand's kind of caught that a little bit right now, where like the guy like ran 3:40 international mile. He almost pulled off like an unbelievable upset against an incredible field in the 1500. So this guy is like right now, like probably one of the most confident guys in the world. And I would take that over any workout, any performance like someone's put together, like from a Josh Kerr, just because we've all been there where it's like, I'm taking momentum, I'm taking the hot hand right now over like a certain race or like what someone has accomplished in the past.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, he looked like he was building something into Grandstand track, didn't it? I mean, if you didn't know what he could have done at the LA meet, which was cancelled, but because he was really like he was getting into something there, but then everything's sort of, the schedule was all thrown off, I guess. I guess you can't count him out. Let's go for a British 1, 2, 3 from my end. No, not really. It's not really.
1, 2, 3, 4. We've got 4 of them. We've got 4 of them. We're going to get all 4 in the final.
Of course, we've got Elliot Giles as well, haven't we? Because of the wild card.
Yeah,
you can't count out Kerr. You can't count out either of the coaches, the American or the Kenyan, and you can't count out Ingebrigtsen. And that's why it's going to be such an amazing race.
You can't count out Timothy Chariot. You never know. Timothy Chariot's on the up. Yeah, it's like
I'm counting him out. I'm counting him out, but I won't count out Ingebrigtsen, and I won't count Kerr, and I definitely won't count on Cole Hocker, even though we've mentioned those are those guys I won't count out for sure.
Okay, that's good.
What would be most? What would be
comes in and says like, this is getting, we got too nice. We've decided to get too nice. Draw a line.
Guys, we can't count out. All right. I'm drawing it there. Tim Chariot, great runner. He's had an unbelievable comeback season, but I'm counting him out.
I can't wait to replay this when he picks up a silver.
Please do. I will go viral.
Laros first, and
this will start his hype video of me being like, I'm counting him out, and then it's like shows him just like doing some impressive thing in the last home stretch.
But the other guy who could win it, let's say Ingebrigtsen's injury and not having raced all year, it gives him permission to say, I'm not going to push the pace the first 800, and I'll be forgiven if I end up losing because it's a slower race. Ronald Chariot has always got a crazy last 100.
But is he going to make the final? He's too erratic to even nail on for the final, especially with no time qualifiers.
I'm just saying, if it's one of those slower races and it comes down to a bedlam in the last 100, he sneaks through.